Hey there. We're going to make this rainbow card today in Cricut Design Space without using any uploaded SVGs or Cricut Access. So we're going to design everything that you see here from scratch in Cricut Access and put it together for a card. Okay, we're going to use this kind of as a reference if we need to for just like the shapes and the design and the clouds, but really everything that we need is going to be in our shapes and at our own design inside Cricut Design Space. So the first thing that I want you to do is open up your Cricut Design Space and then start a new project. Okay. And then you're going to go over here to shapes and you're going to click on this circle and you're going to resize the circle to 7. Okay, 7 inches. We need it to be big so that we've got some room to work in there. Okay. And then I want you to change the background color to red, because we're going to start with our rainbow, which is Roy G. Biv, right? Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. Now that you've got this red circle, I want you to duplicate it, and we're going to change it to 6. So we're going to go down an inch. Okay, and we're going to change the fill color to orange. Now before we move any further, we're going to start slicing, just so that this part is easier when we get to the cutting it in half part. Okay, so select your 2 objects and click the slice button over here. And what that's going to do is it's going to cut out this orange part is going to come out of the red part. So now you should have this red outline, which is the top arch of our rainbow. Okay, but you've also got this red circle down inside there, and we don't want that anymore. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on this middle layer here and we're going to hit delete. Now we're going to click on the orange and we're going to duplicate it and we're going to turn it into yellow. Okay, and we're going to make it 5 inches. Okay, same idea. We're going to select the yellow and the orange and hit slice so that it takes out that center piece. Click on the orange full circle and hit delete. Okay, click on yellow, click on duplicate and change that size to 4 and hit enter. This is our green, so we're going to come over and change the fill color to green. Then we're going to select green and yellow and hit slice. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not, but the neighbor's rooster is having a fit today. Okay, we're going to click on the yellow in the middle here and hit delete. And now we're going to click on green and duplicate, and we're going to change this one to blue and change its measurement to 3. Okay, and then select blue and green and then select slice. This is the 3rd time I've recorded this video, thanks to that rooster, and we're going to just keep on going this time. Okay, so blue, and then we're going to duplicate and we're going to change the size to 2. And this time we want kind of a pink color, and I don't really like the pink color they have in there, so I clicked on advanced so I could see the color bar, and I'm going to slide up into the pinks that I want. Okay, somewhere in there. And then we're going to select the pink and the blue and slice, delete the blue circle, and now we've just got 2 more to go. Okay, so duplicate, change it to 1 inch, and actually 1 inch is probably a little big. Let's do 1.25 just because we're getting kind of close to the center, and it's it doesn't have to be as far away. We're going to make this one purple, and then select purple and pink and slice, delete out the pink circle, and now we're going to do a gray circle. So duplicate this one more time, change the size to 0.75, and make that color kind of a light gray. Okay, and you might have to grab it and pull it into the center. Just do your best to eyeball it. Okay, and then select the purple and slice, and then we're going to get rid of this, and we're actually going to get rid of this. Okay, so that we've got a clear hole there in the center. Now what we're going to do is we're going to slice across the center of this so that we can turn these into just the arch. Okay, the problem with slicing is we can't just like select all of these and then put something over it and slice. You'll notice our slice tool is not popping up, and that's because we've got too many objects selected. Okay, so you can only slice when you've got 2 objects selected. We're going to make a square now. We're going to unlock the proportions so that we can make it a longer square, and we're going to eyeball this about center and pull it across. Okay, If you want to duplicate it and then hide one duplication, it'll be that way. This will be ready for you the next time. And actually, let's unhide that for just a second and select this. And then let's align to the top and the left. So I just went up here to this align. I selected both rectangles, okay? And we could do this all 8 times just so that we know that this is lined up perfectly every single time. So now that those are there, let's hit duplicate again. That gives us 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've got 7 colors. So highlight 3 of these and duplicate one more time. So you should have 7 of them now, okay? So I'm gonna select all of these rectangles. I'm gonna go up here to align until it align left and align top. So now they're all in the exact same position, okay? So that when I start slicing, every single time they're lined up perfectly. And then I'm gonna hide 6 of them. Okay, so you should only have 1 rectangle showing. And I'm going to select that 1 rectangle that's showing, and then I'm gonna select my red circle or arch at this point and click slice. Okay, and what that gives me is the bottom part of my slice, the scraps from the rectangle, and then a gray arch or bottom arch from the rectangle. I'm going to select these 3 layers and hit delete. I don't want those. Okay, now I'm going to unhide a square, select orange, and then select slice. And we're just going to go through the same process for each of these colors. Select the top 3 and hit delete. Unhide another rectangle, okay, and yellow, click slice, select your top 3 and delete, unhide another rectangle, select green and slice, select your top 3 layers, okay, it should be the bottom arch, the scrap paper, and the bottom arch in the color that we just selected, hit delete, unhide 1 more rectangle, and select blue and slice, move to the top, delete all of our extra pieces. We've got 2 rectangles to go. Okay, unhide a rectangle, select pink and slice, select your top 3, holding your shift key and hit delete, and then unhide your last rectangle and purple and slice. Okay, and then delete your last 3 layers. There we go. So now we have a rainbow. Perfect. We're going to select everything there, and we are going to attach. Actually, let's group them. They don't need to be attached because they're gonna cut out on different pieces of paper, right? But we do want them to group so we can move them all together at the same time. Okay, and then this way you can resize it down to whatever you need for whatever you're working on. Okay, for this card, we're definitely going to resize it because 7 inches is just too big for a card. So right now we're just going to kind of stick this up in the corner, and we are going to work on making the clouds. Okay, so if we look at our reference picture, we've got some clouds here that were, this gray dark area back here is the card itself. Okay, and then we've got, yeah, just all the fun stuff for the clouds. So let's make a rectangle just so we've kind of got it for reference as far as our card face. So I'm going to go to shapes and square, and I want to make this 5.5 wide and 4. I got to unmark this lock so that it's not staying in proportion. We don't want a square, we actually want a rectangle. And then 4.25. Okay, so that's our card face size right there. If we were to cut this card and have it scored and everything, we would double the height, so it would actually be 8.5, right, so that it could be folded. I usually like to make mine 4.5, and so that it's a 9 inches and then folded, and then 5.5 wide. But standard size is 4.25, so we're going to go with that. Okay, so here's our card face. Now we need to make some clouds, and we might be duplicating this and using it just to kind of get the edges of our clouds. Let's see what we get going here first. So let's start with a circle, and let's make it kind of a grayish for our cloud. And we're going to resize this down just a little. And then we're going to kind of put it on here just for a feel, like maybe up in here. And then we're going to duplicate it, and we're going to put another big blob maybe down in here. and then duplicate it and make this one smaller. Okay, I'm going like 1.18. You can go 1 inch somewhere in there, just so that it kind of fits in between the two and makes a little cloud bump. Okay, and then duplicate that and move it over here, and duplicate that and move it over here, and maybe one more just to kind of finish off the edge here. And if you go off the edge, that's okay. We're going to trim this up. Okay, so let's move this one off the edge a little too. Okay, so now you should just have an array of circles. Okay, kind of just like a design that's kind of bumpy on the top. That's what we want. Right now we're going to select all of our circles. So I'm going to come over here and hit Shift so that I get all my circles, and I'm going to weld these together. I don't want them to cut individually. I want them to be one piece. So now that they're welded, I'm actually going to trim them up a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to get a square, and it's a little big, so I'm going to just scooch it down a little, and I'm going to line it up right here against the edge of my card, and then I'm going to select this cloud and I'm going to hit slice. Okay, and it's going to slice off the edge of that cloud. I'm just going to delete the extra pieces. And it looks like, yeah, we're good. It was just the outline of it. Okay, let's move all this over so we can work on the right hand side. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing, square, and line it up over here on the edge of the card face, and then I'm going to select the cloud and hit slice again. Okay, and then I'm just going to delete this because I was trying to cut the edge basically. Okay, so now we have this card, and our clouds are kind of not really looking like clouds, they're a little wonky. So let's go over here to rectangle one more time, and I'm going to unlock it so that I can make this the same width as my card, 5.5, right? And then I'm going to drag the height down just a little until I can see the tops of my clouds. But I want it to stay, oops, it went the opposite direction. It doesn't hold sizing very well sometimes. Okay, so basically I'm just dragging this underneath the cloud to the edge of my card so that I can make the bottom of this cloud nice and flat to fit on my paper. Okay, so I don't want it to be anywhere up above any of these bumps. And once you get that rectangle to the right size, it looks like this one's like, we could even just do 5.5 by 2. Okay, I'm going to drag it down a little, line it up. I'm going to click the cloud. I'm going to make sure that they're aligned in the center. So I selected the rectangle layer, the cloud layer, and then I went up here to align, and then I'm going to click center horizontally, okay, which means this direction. I don't care about this direction. Now I'm going to weld these together, okay, and I've got clouds, okay. Then I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to flip it. So I'm going to go up here to flip. I'm just going to click on it and then flip horizontal so that my clouds turn the opposite direction. Okay, so let's just line this card up now. We've got clouds for the back, clouds for the front, and we can make these a little bit shorter if we want to. So I'm going to unlock the proportion and scooch it up a little. It kind of changes the way they look, but not too bad. They're still cloud-ish, okay? And then we're going to resize this rainbow, and we need to change his order. So we're going to bring it, let's move it all the way to the front, and then we can just send it back 1. So move backward 1. That'll put it behind this first set of clouds, okay? So on my original, yep, I was kind of over here in the corner, and then I just tried to hide the edges of the rainbow behind the cloud bubbles, okay? So if you need to, you can kind of rotate a little. This is just purely aesthetic at this point because you'll be fixing all this when you actually put it on the card. We just want to make sure it's going to cut kind of the way we want it to and still fit, right? If you need to unlock the proportions of this, you can do that too, and then just kind of pull it down and make it more arching. Okay, I might do that and then lock it back up again and slide it forward. Okay, so kind of fiddle with that until you get it how you like it. If you need to change your cloud proportions, you can do that too and kind of raise them up a little. all of this is just kind of up to you and how you want your design to go, right? What's that final look you're going for? Okay. And I think I'm pretty much there. I kind of wanted an edge to go underneath the clouds a little bit more, but my clouds aren't quite fat enough. I might add another bubble. Okay, so I'm going to add another circle just to show you what I'm talking about. I need more of a bubble right here in my clouds. So I'm going to come up like this, and I'm going to weld that to this front piece. Okay, and just make this a little bit more bubbly. And then I can pull this back one up a little. And now the edges of my rainbow are kind of behind those curves, but I can still see the purple because that's what I was going for. Okay, and then I'm going to add text to the front of it, but this would depend on if you had a stamp or if you wanted to cut these out or not. I don't necessarily want to cut these words out. I might just print them out onto this card piece and then use it on my card, but just to show you what I put there, okay? It's I'm here for you, rain or shine. I'm here for, did I capitalize it? I don't remember. It's all capitalized. Okay. And I think the font that I chose did that, but we'll do this just in case. For you, rain or shine, exclamation. And then I centered this, okay? And I think the font I chose was one that I downloaded. Okay. Oh, here it is. I think it might have been this one. DJB, the generic. Yeah. Okay. So the font type is DJB, the generic. And I can't remember where I bought that. But anyway, just something that's kind of handwritten and then all in cursive is cute. You decide, maybe you want more script, maybe you want more thick, okay? But you can put a sentiment there and the card is ready to be cut, okay? So if you have questions about that or you need any help with anything, let me know. But you just made a super cute card from scratch. Oh, if you wanted to cut the card base out itself in Design Space, let's move this over just for a second. Basically, you would just make a rectangle that and undo your proportions, and you're going to make it 5.5 wide by you can either do 8.5 or 9. I like 9 more, but your choice. 8.5. And then you can put a score line on this too if you want. So here's your card base, and then you would go to shapes and do score line, and it just kind of throws it out there, and then you have to rearrange it after that. So rotate it and then drag it so it's at the end of your card, and then select the 2 and do align center horizontally, and that'll put this line in the dead center of your card, and then attach these 2 things together, okay, so that it knows to score on that when it cuts it out. So you can cut your card base out of cardstock if you don't have already pre-made cards, or you can cut it by hand with a cutter, and then this would be your card front, okay? So thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, let me know. We are ready to make this rainbow card, and I'm going to go ahead and just take the sentiment off right now because I'm not planning on cutting that sentiment. I'm actually going to print it, and so what I'm going to do is just open like a Word doc or something and go ahead and type it in there again and use that same font, the DJB, the generic, and once I cut out this gray cloud, I'm going to run it through my printer and just have the sentiment printed on there. And I'll go ahead and show you how I do that when I get to that point. So I'm going to delete that first. And then the other thing is, when I send this to my Cricut, it's going to want a mat for each of these colors. It's going to want red, matte, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, right? We're going to have to load all these separate mats for this, plus this color, plus the gray for the clouds. And don't know about you, but I get sick of putting one little piece of paper on the mat to send it through the Cricut and then having to wait for everything to talk to the Cricut. You just have a better chance of it not working properly for you when you do that. So what I'm going to do is actually remember that these are all different colors, but I am going to, let's see, I'm going to move the clouds first of all out of the way. It doesn't really matter where because the Cricut will organize this for me later. I'm going to grab this rainbow and I am going to turn it all one color. I'm just going to make it this light pink here because it doesn't really matter at this point. And then when I get to the cutting stage, I'm going to rearrange this on my cutting mat so that I can put all of the colors on one mat and have each piece cut out the way I want it. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's tell it make it. And the first mat that's going to cut are the gray clouds. So I need to load my first mat with gray. My second mat's going to be my card base if I'm choosing to have it cut and scored there. And then this is going to be where my rainbow happens. Okay. And so I'm going to rearrange these and I'm going to make it so this first rainbow goes ahead and cuts where it's at. And then I'm going to move these ones down out of the way for just a second. I'm going to scooch this one over so it's centered about on the 7. And I'm going to bring this little one up here and put it out here between 10 and 11. Okay. And then this one I'm going to put over here between 3 and 4. And this one can go between 2 and 3 up here and 3 and 4 down here. That's just like an inch of paper. And I'll probably make it just a little, actually let's scooch it over one. I'm going to make it just a little bit longer just so it's got more grip on my Cricut mat. But as far as like paper needed, it's an inch by inch and it's only going to cut a little piece out of there. This one can go right here on the 7 again. And I don't know if I'm gonna have enough room for that one over there, and I'm okay with just putting another piece of paper down here. So between the 5 and 7, and then kind of on 1 and 2, if you look up here. It's grid coordinates, and you just kind of place it out, and then you can look at this again as you're putting it on your mat. All right, so I told you I was going to show you how I do the sentiment onto a piece of already cut cardstock. Our sentiment is I'm here for you, rain or shine. So I'm going to type that out and I'm going to do it all caps. And then I'm going to go ahead and change the font. Let me zoom in for you here. Oh, that didn't. Hold on. This isn't helping you see anything. Give me just a second. So it was DJB. I don't think it was coffee shop, but that works too. Let's go see what else we've got in the DJB range here. Generic. Okay. And then let's just change the size to like 26. It's going to have to be a little bit larger than that, maybe like 36. That's probably pretty good. And I'm actually going to scooch this over just a little with a few tabs. Let's see if I can zoom in for you here. Nope, it doesn't want to zoom. View. Here we go. That's a little bit better. Okay, so I typed it out. I chose my font, the DJB generic. Okay, and I'm going to print it about 36, which I think is probably tall enough. So I'm going to send it to my printer once. Okay, print. And then once it's printed, I'm going to show you I'm going to switch cameras and then show you how this works. So I've got this printed on a piece of paper, 8.5 by 11, right? And I've got my cloud here that's going to go in the front, and it's this one. This one's a back one. This one is the front one. Okay. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cover this with, let me see if I can put this up here so without dropping you. I'm going to go ahead and cover that with the cardstock so that when I send it through the printer again, it'll print where I want it. Okay. And I might have to actually tab it over just a little bit more because I want it to print in this area. So the words actually need to be over in here. So I'm going to still use this piece of paper. I'm just going to guesstimate where I want it to go. When I send it through the printer again, I'm going to adjust it in Word. So I've got removable adhesive, and I just roll this all along the top edge and kind of along the sides so that it doesn't get kicked up inside my printer. Okay. and I'm going to kind of line up where I want it, and then I'm going to readjust on the actual Word document. Okay, so let's move over there. Now that that's done, you get to go climbing with me because my printer's not the best setup, but so my printer's up here in the corner, and I'm just going to stick this in upside down so that it prints exactly the same way it just did before, only I have to readjust where it is on the paper. Okay, so it's back up on the printer. I'm going to come over here to Word, and I'm going to tab this over just a little because I want it kind of in that area. Yeah. And then I'm going to go up to File and Print one more time. Oh, and I just realized I turned you sideways and wonky, so hopefully that films the right way. Okay, and then it printed out on my cloud the way that I wanted and on the side that I wanted. Okay, so now I can go ahead and add that sentiment on my cut piece without having to do print and cut through the Cricut onto my card. We are now ready to assemble this Rain or Shine card. Okay, so I cut my base, and actually my piece of cardstock was a little small, so it's got kind of a lip here, but I kind of like that, so I'm just going to go with that one. I thought about recutting it, and then I was like, I kind of like that it's got a little bit of an edge. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to ink my gray with a little bit, or my clouds with a little bit of gray, just to make them look a little more stormy and kind of cloudish. Okay, and I'm using Memento ink, not necessarily my favorite. I use it, but I really like the chalk inks, and so I think it's time to invest in another pile of those. Okay, my rainbow pieces are all here, and then this is the piece that I showed you how to cut out with the or I cut it out first and then I sent it through the printer, and I use that removable adhesive on the back, so I just pull that off and then I can kind of rub those dots off. You don't really have to worry about this part because you're going to be putting it on your card front, but if you want to take it off, you can. Okay, and this one's not feeling like it was very removable. It might be getting old. It's kind of sliming it. Okay, so I'm going to leave the rest of that, because I think I'm going to pop dot this one up anyway, and it doesn't really matter. But anyway, there's the sentiment printed on our cut piece. It's going to go here on the front, okay, once we get the rest of this assembled. So the first thing we need to do is put this cloud background on there, and I'm just going to glue it down regular. Kind of get over there in the edges, a little bit in the center, and I'm going to put it not quite down to the bottom because I want it to be raised behind the rainbow, and this one's going to take care of covering this piece down here. And I bet you, I wonder if we could glue and foam at the same time. We could. So I'm going to run a foam strip kind of back here where I already had that adhesive, and it needs to go down a little bit so that my rainbow kind of sticks under there. But then I'm going to run the glue kind of along that bottom edge so that it's stuck to the bottom of the card and not catching on stuff, but it's still giving me the 3D effect up there in the corner. Okay, so that part is on there and a little bit popped up because now I can adjust my rainbow however I need to. This part might be fun. I think let's just lay it out just to make sure we got enough room and see where we need to move it. I'm pretty sure that when I cut it like right in this area. And we'll go backwards. And it'll stay better once we're actually gluing. But just to get an idea of where it goes. Yeah, see, they fit together nicely. I think that's going to be good. Green, yellow, orange, red. Perfect. I might just have to bump it down just a little That pink's kind of going to get lost in there, but not too bad. And it's okay if this kind of goes up over the edge a little too. Okay, so pink needs to stay there. Just peeking over the clouds there. And get a hold of that. Put some glue on the back. I'm going to put it back down there in the corner where it's just peeking. Okay, and then that's going to kind of set the direction and angle for the rest of these pieces. And then purple, and then you'll just go in order. All right, there you have it. So we've got a printed sentiment. Oh, I forgot to ink the edges of this cloud. Whoops. I can still do that, I think, just lightly. Give it some stormy effect there. More down the edges. Okay, and there you go. You got a rainbow card that says I'll be there for you, rain or shine, and then you can go ahead and insert a piece of paper or write in it with some colored gel pens that show up on darker colors, or depending on how you did your back card base, you might be already ready to write in, but you're good to go.